All right. Welcome, everybody, back to the Second Opinion Loan Officer podcast. I am joined by a special guest today, Jason Perkins from Bonzo.
Scott, what's up?
What's up, Jason? How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Man, I love having these conversations with you. We have these conversations so often offline. I'm excited to have this conversation with you online. And it maybe help loan officers that are trying to create content, that are trying to go consumer direct, help them understand what that means. So today we're going to talk about conversation automation. So let's kind of start with this and what is conversation automation. And there's a couple things that I want to unpack here. First of all, we're sort of in the realm of CRMs, right?
Yep.
But I do not like I do not like CRMs. I don't like the fact that people use that acronym because it almost doesn't mean anything. And all right, let me float this metaphor out here because I was thinking about this. A CRM is almost like a strip mall with no stores in it yet. So
that's 100%.
If you want to go to that strip mall, you have to decide which stores you want to visit. And so you got to build it. They call it vanilla shell when you get a new office, right?
That's right.
It's like CRMs they call them customer relationship managers. But what is that relationship and what are you managing?
What are you managing? That's exactly it.
What are you managing? So I've been doing consumer direct for a really long time. And when you do consumer direct and let's call them leads. Again, I hate using the word leads because these aren't leads. These are consumers that have questions about qualifying for a mortgage. But when we have to manually pick up the phone and follow up with these people, they become leads. Yeah. So what I like to do is I like to put them into a tool like Bonzo, which I would call a light CRM because it is you are managing a relationship, but it's a very specific relationship.
Yep.
And I lost my train of thought on that. Is it
because CRMs there's so much robustness there we kind of lose where we're actually supposed to do and not do in a CRM?
That's where I was going. When you're a content creator, you're putting knowledge and experience out onto the internet, YouTube, wherever, YouTube, Facebook, organic, whatever you're doing. When that person comes in, what Bonzo does is it automates the engagement and the follow-up on that contact. So as a mortgage professional, the only thing I'm doing is I'm creating the message that attracts the people, and then I'm answering my text, my phone, or my email because Bonzo takes care of everything else.
Yep. That's it.
So I want to talk a little bit. I want to kind of unpack what things we can automate in our business as originators. And if you've got cool stories of somebody that, created a specific campaign, and we'll try to unpack these things, but that's another challenge with CRMs. Jason, I don't know if you struggle with this, but the words that they use, campaigns, tags, triggers, there are all these words that are used. And when a CRM wants to stand out, it just calls those things something different.
Yeah.
Right. But,
that's right.
but let's kind of talk about from sort of a high level. I create a video. Somebody comes to my website, and let's say I have a lead pops form on my website. So they fill out my lead pops form. That lead pops form, I automatically push it using Zapier into Bonzo, right? What is happening when it goes to Bonzo?
So, I like to break this down in a couple different ways. And that's a really good example, right? Is that, Bonzo is picking it up at the 20 or 30 yard line, so to speak. And we are bringing the conversation forward, bringing the relationship forward, right? Because I'm a big believer in that. And this is where, a lot of other automation and CRM companies, they don't agree with me. But I'm a big believer in is that the entire conversation should never be automated. Like, even though we've got Chat GPT and all these other tools to like try to act like you're going to filter them down, the relationship starts when you get involved, right? We can kickstart it. And so when that video, let's say they watch your video, it's awesome. It's all education about FHA or 203K, or the case may be. You started to build that relationship, but now we have to start the conversation. We have to start the right way. So let's say they are watching the video that comes into Bonzo, it kicks off into a campaign. That campaign, or that, when it comes into Bonzo, that first message should start from what just happened, right? So they just watched a video. I'm sending out a text message saying, hey, Scott, thanks so much for watching my video. I'd love to spend some time with you and deep dive on what your goals are. Are you free over the next couple of days, right? But the first thing
let me pause there. So you mentioned the word campaign, and this is exactly what we do at Find My Way Home. Every lead source goes into a separate campaign, and you think of that campaign as a focused conversation with the consumer based on their source, where they came from, right?
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
Because again, if our goal is to get them to raise their hand and start a genuine conversation, that's how we're going to win those relationships in that business, because they have to trust us. And if it's canned, it's going to go into the void. They're not going to respond to it. We have to be specialized and contextual in the way that we reach out and follow up with people who are inquiring about more information. Educate me more, and let's build a relationship and conversation around it.
I almost think it's worse than that. I almost think that if you try to automate too much, or if you try to be too generic, you lose their trust, because you already gained their trust to a very small degree when they put their contact information into the form. But they're leary. They're like, okay, this is the internet. I'm going to put this thing in here. And if it's their very first one, they don't know. Chances are they wouldn't have found you, right? Yeah. So chances are they had questions about qualifying for a mortgage. They go to Google. One or more companies that spend several commas in advertising spend are going to get first click,
of course,
right? Yep. They're going to fill that lead out. And then what happens? They get 72 phone calls. Their text messages are blowing up, and they're all generic, and they're all automated, and they know it. And it's horrible.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to help loan officers understand is what that does for us is that creates a huge pool of high intent consumers that have questions about qualifying for a mortgage that we just know that they had a not so great experience
100%.
with a call center. The statistics are actually that less than 2% of forms generated from those lead generation companies result in a closed loan.
Yep. That's
so
right.
98% of that traffic, and those are probably tens of thousands of people a day.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep.
And they're coming back. So if they land on my content and I'm not, it's different, right? So they clicked on an ad, but if they find my content, they're like, oh, I think I can trust this person because it seems like it's a real person. So they fill out my form or whatever. And if they get the exact same experience that they got from the call center, I'm just like the call center.
Well, and that's the thing. Nobody wants to talk to a call center. Nobody. No. They don't want to talk to a call center because the perception is that that's, some uneducated, fresh out of college, whatever person.
It's not even a perception. It's pretty accurate.
Right. It's like, the last thing anybody wants to talk. So if our messages is call center centric, then they're going to your point, they're going to have the same thought. We need to make the perception we need to create is continuing off of what they just saw from us. So if they watch that video, our outreach should be in line with how we perceive how our perception is, right? So dialing in more data points to understand what they're looking for. Like, I'm a big believer, and we have this one, we have a few members in Bonzo who do exactly that, right? So they're pushing out a bunch of content. The first thing that they're doing is teeing up an email with a video, going after the next, hey, thanks so much for watching our video. I'd love to spend more time with you. I'm going to send you a text here in a few minutes. It's going to be a link to XYZ, right? And this is going to be where we can schedule some time on my calendar, whatever the case may be. But now what we're doing, I'm a big believer, Scott, in saying, Can they feel you? Can they see you? Can they hear you in your outreach, right? Because now we're creating actual human interaction and authenticity around our outreach instead of just again, a generalized text message. So if they can feel me through like personality, right? So I'm a big believer in saying, if you're sending out a text message, add some personality to it, add a GIF to it, right? A GIF, a GIF, right?
Yeah.
What is your personality? And make it relevant to what they just watched. So if they just watched a YouTube video, like, hey, here's my YouTube. Hey, thanks for so much for watching my YouTube video, YouTube GIF, right? So I'm filling up from the last step. I'm continuing the conversation and that perception of what I'm creating. Next is an email with a video introduction, next steps. And I'm being appreciative. And there's a lot of gratitude focused on that. And there's education, right? Because I want them to see me as a person. I've got 2 arms and 2 legs and a head and a mouth, just like you do. Like, let's be a human to human authentic conversation, right? And so that's the way we should be thinking about our outreach. Our outreach has to have care at scale. If we can care at scale and be authentic at scale, we're going to win more of those relationships and conversations.
For instance, and I don't know if you tell people that this is a best practice, but what I really like is, especially for this inbound consumer direct, I love that first email or that first text to go out with a GIF doing this.
Yeah.
Like, you record that once. You don't even have to say anything.
That's right.
I mean, it's cool with Bonzo, or Bomb Bomb or something. You pick up the little sign with their name on it.
Yeah.
But you don't even have to do that. This is what we're talking about. Automation, engagement automation is all I have to do is do this real quick.
Yeah.
Put that in the text and it says, hey, I'm also going to drop you. I just left you a voicemail. I just tried to call you.
Yep.
I'm also going to send you an email with all my contact information and a calendar link. I'd love to jump on a call at your convenience and have a conversation with you.
That's right.
I love that. And I love the fact that, you kind of led off this conversation with saying, a lot of these CRM people don't agree with the way that you approach this. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I say, listen, if you see the crowd, that means you should turn around and go the other way, because they're following the lowest common denominator.
And they're all doing it. Like, I was talking to a big team, they do all different types of, whether it's referral based or, prospect based or building content, they do it all. Right. And I'm talking to them just about best practices, and they've been on some legacy CRMs. And they were telling me what they're doing. And I said, what's your conversion rate, right? What's your response rate? Well, I don't know, like 8%. I said, that's a terrible number, right? The number of leads that you're getting, the number of prospects are coming in that want to learn more about you is 8%. And we looked at their content. Scott, they're writing novels in text messages, right? Like a text message should be very short and sweet, right? Not overcomplicated, super simple, digestible, and personality. That's what we're going to drive.
Line signature block at the bottom of the text message.
Like, no one's going to read that. Like, I know for a fact that you did not just write that out. I know for a fact, right?
There are no typos in it. The punctuation is all right.
There's indents in a text message. I know that you just copied and pasted that from ChatGPT or something.
Oh my gosh, that's so.
And it's like, we don't need to overcomplicate it, but what people are afraid to do is put their personality out there. That's what we're afraid to do. They're afraid to turn on the camera because of what people are going to perceive of them. They want to hide behind a wall. We need to let that go, because people do business with you because they like you, right? We're going to build trust because you're an authentic person. If we can forward that and if we can scale that, we're going to win. I promise you, anybody watching this, if you put your personality out there and drive curiosity, make it simple, make it sweet, right? But put your personality at the forefront, you're going to win so much more of that business, because that person on the other line finally feels like they're talking to an expert, they're talking to a human being, and they're talking to somebody who cares about their situation. Yeah,
I'm a really bad salesperson. I don't like selling. It's all kinds of mental hurdles and things like that. But I'm an educator and I like to help people.
Yes.
And so that's how I approach it. Everything that I do is can I help? I already assume that they have intent. And I already assume that I'm working on trust, right? There's some level of trust there, and I'm looking to deepen and broaden that trust. But I know what their intent is. So a lot of my follow-up isn't, hey, here, fill out this application and then I'll talk to you. It's like, oh, it looks like you have questions about qualifying for a mortgage. I'm happy to help.
That's right.
What's a good time, right? That's a normal conversation. That's like if you were face to face with somebody, you know, if somebody walked up to you and said, you know, I was thinking about getting a mortgage, you wouldn't just say, oh, here's my card, go to my website and fill out my application. I'd be
Or
like,
you
oh,
wouldn't say
that's
like,
really
here's my application. Here's like,
or
here's the link
here's
to
my
my application.
application. I'd be like,
Yeah.
wow, Jason, that's really cool. Tell me more about this.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And then I build that relationship. So let's go back to our slide here, because what we're kind of talking about is inbound consumer direct. And whether you pay for traffic and you send it to a landing page, or whether it's you're creating content and it's organic, this is the same process. Sort of. Again, what Jason said on the campaigns, if I'm running a Facebook ad, I'm going to have a separate campaign for that Facebook ad that I'm going to have for leads that come off findmywayhome.com.
100%.
Because if they come to my website and they watch my content, I know that there's a different experience. So inbound consumer direct, whether it's paid or organic, whatever way they are getting through this. And when I say this inbound, I'm thinking of going through like a Lead Pops type of thing. Or I know, Bonzo, you have landing pages, right? Is that's a product that you have? So I'm thinking of those things. So I want you to think.
Channel?
Pardon me?
I just said, react to the channel. Yeah.
React to the channel. Now, here's the thing that I love about Bonzo. Listen, consumers fill out they fill out forms online. You don't know if you were the first one or the last one, or if they filled out 5 at a time and 3 of them are still blowing them up. Sometimes they don't, not sometimes, about half the time they won't respond.
Yep.
That's been my experience. It's plus or minus. Some of our campaigns with Bonzo are closer to 70% contact rates. I haven't really seen anything much lower than 50%, but after doing this for 15 years, that's pretty consistent, about 50%. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't still have questions about qualifying for a mortgage. It just means that they're not ready to talk to you now. So one of the things that I love about this automation is once they run through the consumer direct campaign, and what does that usually look like? Is that 5 to 7 messages over 7 to 9 days, something like that?
Yeah. And there's always a teeter there. Again, depends on the channel, right? If it's like high competition shared, or you're paying, or if it's more organic and, it's like act like it's almost like a referral, per se. Like, but I like to say, like stats say, 8 to 10 times over 7 days, but spread it out, right? Like, don't text somebody 10 times every single day. Like, that's annoying, right? We got to look at like common sense around our outreach. And that's why I say, like, I always talk about platform permission, Scott. Like, when you're looking at your outreach, give them the permission of the platform they want to respond to. And that way I spread it out. So I do a couple text messages. I did an email. I do an email with a video. I do an email with a stat. I do a voicemail drop. But they're seeing me, right? They're seeing me on these other channels, right? And now it's more focused and spread, but they're seeing me on, they check their email. They see, hey, just checking in, right? They check their voicemail. They hear like, hey, it's Jason over at 123 Mortgage. Sent you a text a couple days ago. Would love to just learn more about your situation. Give me a call or text back to this number when you can. A couple days later, we send a text message. Hey, Scott, again, I would love to, learn more about what you're doing. Are you a first-time home buyer? Whatever the case may be. I saw that you came through our website a few days ago. I'd love to help you out. Just use me as a resource if you need anything. But we're spreading those channels out and we're covering the full basis. And that's when we're doing the 8 to 12 times, the 8 to 12 contact attempts over, 5 to 7 business days. That's where we're going to see a high conversion rate, right? Is that spreading it out, not being too aggressive. Like, I've seen some campaigns come in, there's like 5 text messages the first day. It's like, dude, no, that person just DNC'd you. They told you, like, that's annoying, right?
Yeah.
So it's just common sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So then what we do, and this is something that CRMs will do, but Bonzo definitely does it, is once it reaches that initial contact attempt campaign, that initial engagement campaign, it kicks over into a long-term nurture. At least that's the way we have it set up.
Yep.
So it kicks over into a long-term nurture. Now, long-term nurture, there's a lot of different ways to do long-term nurture. One of the things that Bonzo will do, and this is kind of further down, is that we can take all of those leads that didn't convert initially. I would you communicate with them, you still engage with them,
Yep.
but it's just fewer and further between, right? You're just letting them know every couple of weeks, once a month, once a week, then 2 weeks later, then maybe 6 weeks later, hey, I'm still around if you have questions. But what I also like to do, and this is something we can do with Bonzo, is I can tag those and create a custom audience on Facebook, and I can follow them around with the new content that I just created.
Yes.
That is the beauty of being a content creator. We always have something new to say. And when we put our content in front of consumers, you don't have to solve their problem. We're only letting them know that we are a problem solver, and
That's
that
right.
we do for a living. So it doesn't matter what that video is. It could be about refinances and they're still trying to buy. They're going to still see your face talking about mortgages in a confident way.
And they're going to see you as the expert, right? That's going to shift their mind of like, oh, Scott is actually knows what he's talking about, right? So when I am ready to re-engage this thought, I'm talking to my spouse or my friend, whatever, about potentially buying a home or getting pre-approved or refinancing, you are top of mind now, right? Gary Keller talks about that a lot. Is like that top of mind awareness game. And if we can do that contextually and showing ourselves, but not aggressively, we're not trying to, like, we should, and that's the biggest thing I see that, we had this mindset 15 years ago of like sell, right? Which,
Yep.
that whatever. The way that we've changed culturally, right, and economically is that selling you is scary. Like if you're selling me, I want nothing to do with you, right? It's about the education. It's about the building a relationship. It's about building the trust and how we present that content. To your point, Scott, it's like them seeing us on social media talking about a specific topic that's timely, but at the same time running a nurture campaign, again, not as aggressively, checking in every, once a month, every 3 weeks, every 6 weeks, but it's organic in nature, in the sense that like I am just showing you that I'm still around. I'm giving you some pieces and nuggets of education, but I'm also showing you that I care, and I'm mixing that up. So maybe I'm sending them an article about the differences between, buying a condo and a single family and a detached condo, and why those are different and what you should think about. And then, 3 weeks later, I'm just sending a text message saying, hey, Scott, I'm just checking in to see how you're doing. And if there's anything I can help you with, please let me know. That's it. So you think about that mold, right? They're seeing you on social. They're seeing you as being the expert. And then they're seeing you send them like purposeful content, not an HTML based email that they know that it's just a marketing email, but something that looks like you actually typed out and wrote. Jeez, can't talk. And then also just following up with showing them that we care about them. Like that, we're molding the pyramid of trust in our outreach and how they're seeing us in such a digital age.
And here's the other thing is, if they don't opt out, there is a level of trust there. So all of your entire long-term nurture database is also a source of referrals.
Yes.
So if they know you, they like you, and they trust you, but they're just not ready, by you staying top of mind, again, there's a big difference between making a good impression and staying top of mind.
Yeah.
Right? Making a good impression can fade over time. Staying top of mind is continuing to make an impression over and over and over again, and reinforcing the fact that trusting you is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So long-term nurture, you don't give up on these people, especially right now. And I don't really. So we're recording this February of 2023, and the market is tough out there. It's going to be a challenging market. I think it's going to be a little bit more challenging than last year, mostly because if interest rates level out, they don't have to go down that much. They just have to stop moving.
Yeah.
Like if they stop moving, people will be like, okay, at least I know I'm working with this. We still have inventory problems. So we still got high rates and nobody's moving, when rates settle and buyers start coming into the market, we're still going to have the inventory challenges. So it's not like there's going to be a day that all of a sudden everything just clicks and it just goes. So what I'm telling everybody right now, especially if you have a little bit more time, learn how to do this, learn how to create content, learn how to build your database. This is a market for closing whatever you can, but most importantly, this is a market for building your database of buyers as big as you possibly can. That's what Quicken did. Quicken launched Quicken Money, and they specifically said, we're launching Quicken Money because we know consumers aren't ready to get a mortgage today. So we want to put them in our database so that when they are ready to buy, they buy with us.
That's right.
You know, we have.
I think I lost Scott. To that point, you know, we have a client. There you are.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hit my mouse, and it made us disappear.
You were on a really good point too. You were like the whole like building the pipeline, Quicken Money, and then I was like,
oh yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Us as loan originators, we have FinLocker. So I'm definitely going to talk to Brian View. We're going to get Brian View on here, but having those types of tools, those long-term nurture tools, it's not just custom audiences. It's not just Bonzo doing drips. I would put them in a FinLocker. I would also send them. I'm also sending our database for Find My Way Home. What I'm doing is I'm writing new content every week. I'm recording new videos, and I'm sending that to my entire database in an HTML email. So I am sending an HTML email, and we're in front of them on Facebook, and we're contacting them in Bonzo. And I know that feels overwhelming. It feels like, oh man, I'm really bugging this person. But think about what your day is.
Yeah.
You're not bugging me. If I'm on Facebook and I happen to see your ad, I'm not going to be like, oh, that darn Bonzo. You know? And if I get one text one day, it feels like we're doing a lot of things, but we don't see everything that's sent to us. So if you send 5 pieces of communication to your consumer, they might be seeing one of them. They might be seeing 2 of them. So I guess that's I guess that was my point is don't worry about that. Let's talk real quick about aged leads, because aged leads, there's a lot of people we have. I would be willing to bet that you as a loan officer listening to this or watching this and your real estate agents probably have a pretty big list of buyers that tried to buy in 20 and 21 that couldn't get their offers accepted.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like they are home buyers, and they probably feel like they missed the boat because of what's going on. And they're probably just collecting dust somewhere. So if you co-marketed with an agent and you bought Zillow leads during that time, and then you never did anything with them, Bonzo is a really good tool. Upload a list of past data. Now this gets a little bit of you have to have some ethics when you do this, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't pull up a list that's 3 years old and try to like. I mean, that's not best practice. But I think, you know, to your point, Scott, it's like, one, we can take advantage of the fact that, and nothing against realtors, because I used to be a realtor, but realtors aren't the best with actually organizing, you know, their leads. They're just not, right? Because they're just so busy. So nice way to put it. No, like, you know, the benefit here is
they're
that
mostly A-type personalities. They're not as tech savvy necessarily.
Right.
Always.
But they, you know, they follow the crowds in a sense, is that, you know, they get options for people to buy them leads, and like they get leads everywhere, right? Because everybody wants their business. So they have this giant pool and they're doing nothing with, right? I mean, you go talk to any decent agent in your area, they're going to say, oh yeah, I've got a ton of Zillow leads over here and they're only a couple months old. Like I haven't done anything with them. Can you help me? Ding, ding, ding. That is your in right there. Take that opportunity, not only to build the relationship with the agent, say, listen, let me follow up on these people. Let me see if I can get some people engaged for you. That's a win for the agent. But now you just got access to free prospects, right? That to your point, Scott, they like maybe we're in, they're thinking about it. They're still on that journey. They're somewhere on that journey. Let's figure out where they are in that journey. And when we reach out to them again, it's showing our professional side. It's showing that we're a human being. Hey, I know, a couple months ago, you expressed some interest on one of the properties on Zillow from one of my realtor partners. I'd love to learn more about what you're looking for. And, we've got some great loan programs that could potentially help you out, especially, with rates where we are, we have options, right? 2-1 buy downs, whatever the case may be, but it's your option to get in front of them, right? And that's where we can win the relationship with the agent and the referral partner, and also win some new relationship with consumers. And like I always say, an age lead is not a dead lead, that it's never a dead lead, right? It's our fact that how we reach out to them. What are we saying to these people? And again, we don't need to be hyper aggressive with these age leads. It's not going to be like this 5-day campaign where we text them 15 times. You're going to get opt-outs, out the wazoo if you do that. It has to be a gentler approach, but you can get a lot of conversations coming in from age leads. We have tons of members. Their sole focus and strategy on Bonzo is to go build relationships with agents, take their age Zillow leads, put them into a re-engagement campaign, and that is their primary business model. I mean, it's shocking how well this works, and how many agents have pools of leads sitting in there that they paid a lot of money for, that they're not doing anything with. And they having those loan officers, that these teams on Bonzo are re-engaging these leads and getting a ton of business from it and pre-approvals.
Now, so one of the features of Bonzo that I really like is it has I call it a phone burner feature, because I think a lot of people know what phone burner is. You're not necessarily dumping old data and just spamming it. You can take that list, and it's probably not that many, and have your LOA, or even you, if you have a little bit of time, and you put it in this phone burner list and warm it up a little bit before you start sending it. Hey, they asked me to keep up with you. Listen, we've got a really good excuse right now because this market is so volatile. We know that if somebody ever had interest, listen, the reason why I would like to stay in touch with you is because this market is crazy. This market is crazy for us as professionals. So I'm going to do my best to unpack this and decipher this and demystify what's going on in this market, so when it's the right time to
That's
to
a perfect approach. That's a perfect approach. And that's what I'm saying, like, with our power dialer in Bonzo, it's, it's not going to, like, I'm totally against the whole like spoof numbers and like trying to pretend like, that, you're going to call out 100 people at time and see you the first one to pick up. No, we want this to be as authentic as possible. Right. And so to your point, it's like, let me be your educator. I see that you had expressed some interest, and again, the power dialer in Bonzo is built for you to have one-to-one conversations. Now, again, you can leave action items. If they don't pick up the phone, you can leave a pre-recorded voicemail and a text message, which certainly helps drive responses back. But our goal is to get people on the phone. We want to talk to them, right? And we want to help them. And I think that's where you can optimize your time, but really show your true self. The fact that you're trying to help these leads and these prospects, educate them, wins, losses, whatever the case may be. But, Scott, to your point, like that's a perfect approach for those age leads, is like, hey, we know the market's kind of crazy, but I would love to be a resource for you. When you are ready, please let me know. I'm local to your market. I know, what the inventory is looking like, rate, have any questions about rates, please let me know. But that's the pinnacle approach, in my opinion, when you're going after age leads.
And even when you're talking to these agents, and age leads are if they're still buying leads, we also know that they're not doing a great job of following up on them.
No.
So we can put our referral partners in our account and Bonzo.
Oh yeah.
They follow up on those leads on the agent's behalf.
Yep. And you can even add your agents as like what I like to do is in those campaigns, like give your agent a seat. So the first text message comes from the agent. So you'll be hearing from my, one of my lender partners. Yes. And then the next text comes from the lender, right? So now you're just creating a cohesive environment and relationship between two local advisors who know the market. And then your stickiness rate really skyrockets there.
Yep. Another thing that I put on here is prospective referral partners. You should be marketing to real estate agents that you want to do business with.
Yeah.
You can put them on a long-term on a long-term nurture. You can also put them into a custom audience and follow them around. There are these ways that we can subtly stay top of mind in a cool way.
Yes.
And then the next thing they know, they're going to have an issue, and they remember they saw a video somewhere on you talking about not needing income documentation for an investor. Maybe I'll call that guy,
Scott, it's one of my favorite strategies with taking custom audiences of agents in a market and then creating a retargeted meta ad to them, but your content is all consumer focused, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
2-1 buy downs, right? First time home buyer tips, but I'm only targeting agents. So like to that point, when I do reach out to them to maybe grab coffee, or I see them at an open house, they already know that you're an expert. Like they've seen your content. And the benefit of doing this is that 99.9% of loan officers, sorry, I'm a Bonzo, that 99%, they don't do this, right? So you're the 1% in the market that's actually putting themselves out there. That is the way to be. We know this, right? We talk about it all the time. So you want to be seen, go on social, right? Gary Vaynerchuk, it was just at the Hall of Fame talking about it. It's like, you want to be seen, you got to put yourself out there, create content. And if we're specialized and hyper targeted in who we target there, like when I was an originator back in like 2011, there was it was like knocking on doors, right? Like I'm just like going to the local association and joining committees and this and that. And like, it was a long pathway to get a name in the local market. You could become the local lender celebrity in 60 days, retarget your agents, content. Then I'm reaching out to them, setting appointments like that. Why wouldn't every loan officer who is on the offense right now, which everyone should be, why wouldn't they be doing it right now?
Yeah, we have a couple people in the Find My Way Home Expert Network that do exactly that. They do consumer direct content, and then they have a big custom audience of both current referral partners and prospective referral partners. Yeah. So, and I would separate them, because Absolutely. That way your ads are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Past clients, we talk about past clients. We can set up something in Bonzo so that we can quarterly, we can send out hey, just checking in, kind of a text message or an email to kind of initiate some of those conversations.
Well,
right.
Here's an interesting stat too, that, 18% of your past customers actually refer you, right? But 88%, if you're a good loan officer, actually would refer you if they heard from you, if you stayed top of mind. And it's that simple stat that like, oh, you know what? I should probably reach out to them more instead of them sending them pumpkin pie recipes through my, traditional drip campaign that moves nothing on the needle in relationships. Like if I show them I care about them, I'm going to win the top of mind awareness game. So that 18% can turn to an 88% pretty quickly if we do a little effort in doing a personalized outreach to our past clients, checking in with them, right? So think about this, like every 6 months, maybe sending them a Starbucks gift card in the mail, picking up the phone and actually calling them through a power dial, sending them a text message, just checking in. How is the home doing? Instead of the getting the leaves out of the gutter and the pumpkin pie recipes, let's get rid of that content, right? And it goes back, I say it a lot. It's like, if we can carrot scale, we're going to win that. We're going to turn that 18% to 88%. Now you have a referral army. Same thing with your agents and retargeting on Facebook. Do the exact same thing with your past clients on social. Let them see you, because if all they need to do is remember you, right? After that transaction's done, now is my opportunity to turn them into a brand cheerleader. I can turn that, if they had a good experience, I'm going to turn them into a brand cheerleader. They're going to see me on social. I'm going to make them feel good. I'm going to show them I care about them. I'm going to check in with them. If we do those things, we are building an army of brand cheerleaders and referral partners in our business through our past customers.
Now imagine if you show your referral partner how to do that with their past clients.
Yes.
If Absolutely. You give them a seat in your Bonzo, you create the campaigns for them, you help them set it up, and they start getting engagement from that. You think that's stickiness?
Oh man,
that agent can't go anywhere because you keep sending them business from their database.
Right, exactly.
So we talked about the custom audiences. do you have people out there using this also as a long-term nurture for recruiting?
Oh my
Are
gosh.
they using Bonzo?
Yes. I mean, that is like, so here's the thing. Most recruiters are not only full-time recruiters, they're branch managers, they're producing branch managers, and they're
Correct.
trying to recruit. They're trying to wear multiple hats, right? And
Yep.
so what we do as, producing recruiters or producing branch managers who happen to recruit is that, yeah, I'll go talk to a loan officer. I'll have a phone call, maybe a coffee, but it doesn't go anywhere from that because we're too busy with all the other things that we need to do. And so that conversation, what is it? 98% of loan officers say no. Like, they're getting hit with recruiters all the time. It's like, no, I'm good where I'm at. But a
Yep.
no is just a not right now. And that's what every recruiter needs to understand, is that a no is a not right now, because until they have that bad time or that bad day at that current company, underwriting screws up, whatever, they change the DBA, the brand, they take away this marketing stuff. The day that they have a bad time, or the number of times that we have a bad time, then they start to think about, what is the grass greener? Are there companies out there that can better serve my specific needs as a loan officer? And when we're nurturing them properly and checking in with them and seeing how they're doing, how can I help you, showing the culture of what it's like working over here, but not being infringing on selling all the other tools and assets, just being their friend, right? And being their advisor, and like, how can I help you? We can automate that. We can put them into a nurture campaign and check in with them every now and then. Hey, how's your day going? I want to send you this really cool clip from Ed Milet about culture. And it's kind of like very similar to how we operate here at XYZ company. It's like, we're subtly showing them what it's like to work over here without forcing the conversation. And so when they do have that bad day at their current company, or series of bad days, they're like, you know what, Scott, okay, let me hear you out. Right. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we're focusing for. So let's say we're having these conversations. Now we're building up a bucket of 300-400 loan officers who I've initiated conversation with. They tell me no. Great. That's a not now. I'm going to continue that conversation. I'm going to nurture that conversation until they're ready. And I can do that the right way, but optimize my time, because I'm still having all these other things to do as a producing recruiter.
And quite frankly, I would also put them on a custom audience and send them my consumer direct content.
100%. Yes.
Because
100%.
because then they're going to be like, oh man, that's different than what I'm doing. Nobody in my office is doing that.
How does he do that?
How does he do that? I wonder why they're doing that. And, when we keep talking about custom audiences, Jason, it is dirt cheap to do marketing to custom audiences, because you don't have 50,000 records. You have 500 people or 400 people that you're showing the ad to. And if you're doing cost per click, I wouldn't even do cost per click. Carl White used to do this thing about a decade ago. Right when Facebook ads just came out, he had this thing called Facebook ads that suck. And it was just like his face, and it was like a goofy face, but it was a really ugly ad because he didn't want anybody to click on it so that he wouldn't get charged for it, but it would get served all the time. And it was goofy. So people would be like, who is that crazy guy?
Yeah.
So
that's brilliant. Well, it's all based off of it's all about, Meta looks at that of like, is it a good experience for the end user, for the audience, right? And so they're going to optimize how many impressions you get. And let's say you do have a list of 1,000 people, like, you can spend $10 and reach that entire 1,000 group of people, right? Like, you're going to optimize the experience, show it steadily in the newsfeed and in the stories, and depending on how big the group is or how small the group is, right, and how long they're maybe spending like watching your video. Like, if you're having a bet, like, and that's what, like, Scott, you're brilliant at this, it's like the content that you put out, that's going to determine how many impressions you get, right? So like, if I have a good video that's educational in nature, that whatever, it looks authentic, I'm should be there, then I'm going to have a longer watch rate, I'm going to get more impressions, right?
Yep.
So those little things, like, we obviously need to think about, but utilizing the power of that and getting your eyeballs constantly on you for dirt cheap, there's no better way to market on social, where people spend their time, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, man, that's a lot. That's a lot of things, and we could kind of go on forever.
Yeah.
I want to try to bring this thing in for a landing a little bit. So you and I had a really cool conversation about a year ago. and we called it 6 Creative Ways to Grow in a Changing Market. And it was specifically about how to use Bonzo in a lot of the ways that we just talked about here today. And you have more case studies. We had other stories. So that is in the Second Opinion Loan Officer community. If you are a member of the community, you'll recognize this sidebar. You're going to look for the content, the free content courses, and then you'll see the Bonzo one on the bottom, the 6 creative ways to do that. If you're not already in the community, I have a really cool report that I just put together. I put this together a couple of weeks ago. It's a 17-page blueprint on how to break free from buying leads. And it really focuses on what kind of content you're creating, how you're capturing those leads, and using Bonzo to automate the engagement on those leads. So if you go to mlo.expert, just mlo.expert, you put your email in there, I'm going to send you the blueprint. You're going to get an invite to the community where we're going to share all of that information. If you are not a Bonzo customer, I highly recommend that you look into Bonzo. If you can get it out of your head that you need to go out and get this big, huge, robust CRM thing, talk to Bonzo, talk to their clients, talk to people who are using them. If you're a broker and you're a member of the Brokers Are Better group, Bonzo is a preferred, as a part. Actually, were you the number 1 partner for AIM for 2022? Was that it?
Very thankful to be the company partner of the year for AIM. So we're
Company
super
partner.
excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've just been such a huge fan of you guys for so long. If you are a member of the Find My Way Home Expert Network, you know that we are powered by Bonzo. Everything we do runs through Bonzo. If you're not a member of the Find My Way Home Expert Network, we are a done-for-you solution that helps you create this content to drive the traffic to convert. If you as a part of the network, so findmywayhome.com, I started 15 years ago. It regularly averages somewhere between 20 and 25,000 unique visitors every single month. And these are all consumers that are looking for a second opinion. So as part of our network, what we're doing is we're making those introductions of those consumers to you today. And we are helping you create content for the future. We have a remote production service where if you sign up, we will send you all of the equipment. We have a professional director. It's just like a Zoom call. You just talk to our director. They ask you questions. You answer questions. We turn that into content. David Zai is a rock star on our network. These 2 videos, he is getting so many people reaching out to him, specifically traveling nurses. And he's had some great content. He did the refinance video back in October, and it was crazy. He was getting probably 3 to 5 leads, a week off this thing as soon as he published it. And he basically said, yeah, rates are up, but here's your options. So, Jason, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. If you're watching this on Spotify or YouTube, all of the links are below. I'll put a link to Bonzo in there, but all of the links to our community, to the download, to the report, the free community, and even the Find My Way Home Expert Network. But Jason, man, we're really happy to be a partner with you in this. And actually, you know what? Before we close out, I kind of want to talk about this. This is one of the things that I love about the Bonzo community is it's a collaborative community.
Yeah, very much so.
I know you're working on creating like some open source libraries where if I come up with a really good long-term nurture campaign, I can submit it, and then any Bonzo customer can use that campaign as a
That's
template.
right.
And then that's exactly what we do at Find My Way Home. Also, we build out all of the campaigns for you. When somebody comes up with best practices, we're sharing it with the community. But that's another real thing that I really, really love about Bonzo is we're always sharing best practices, campaigns, wins, successes. And I just think you guys are a great company and you're great people. And I'm just really glad that that we're partners with you. And I appreciate you taking the time to have this conversation with me. I'm hoping that we perk up some ears and people start thinking about this a little bit differently.
Thanks so much, Scott. I really appreciate you having me on today, and anything I can do for your members or answer any questions. But feelings mutual. Love you guys. So glad you're on the Bonzo platform and having success with it. And if there's anything we can do to make it better, it's all about community at Bonzo. Listening to users' feedback. That's how we've been built, and that's how we'll continue to build. So really appreciate your support, Scott.
Awesome. Thanks, man. We'll see you soon. Thanks,
All right,
Jason.
see ya.
All right.
Bye.
See you, everybody.